WFYI podcasts are brought to you by Visit Bloomington. With over 350 restaurants to choose from, Bloomington, Indiana is truly a food lover's paradise. Go to visitbloomington.com to discover what suits your taste.
We're going to take a trip right now. Like we always do about this time.
This is a journey into sound. Break it down.
I'm Kyle Long, and you're listening to Cultural Manifesto. On this week's show, I'll be joined by Sweet Poison Victim, an Indianapolis band known for their unique blend of West African music and rock and roll. Sweet Poison Victim recently recorded a live set for WFYI's Small Studio Sessions. We'll listen to music from that session along with tracks from the band's new album, Ringgold Avenue Highlife. And we'll hear a track from that album now. This is Sweet Poison Victim with Yekwaba. That was Sweet Poison Victim with Yekwaba off their latest album, Ringgold Avenue Highlife. For over a decade, Sweet Poison Victim have brought the sounds and rhythms of West African music to audiences in Indianapolis. The band also explores Latin American and Caribbean music, a reflection of the diverse backgrounds of the group's individual members. The band's leader, Kwesi Brown, was born and raised in Ghana. Kwesi's background has shaped every aspect of the group's sound and style, including their name. The band's name was inspired by a potent, homemade Ghanaian alcohol that Kwesi calls Sweet Poison. Sweet Poison is steeped in a blend of roots and herbs, and Kwesi says that mix of flavors is reflected in the band's sound. Let's join my conversation with Sweet Poison Victim as Kwesi discusses his rich background in music, from playing drums in his grandmother's shrine in Ghana to earning a master's degree in ethnomusicology in the United States.
My name is Gerardo. I play guitar, sometimes drums.
My name's Carl. I play bass and hand percussion.
My name's Imani. I play percussion and vocal.
My name's Ted. I play guitar.
My name is Josh. I play hand percussion.
My name is Kwesi. I sing.
My name is Mario. I play bass and percussion.
Thank you all for being here. It was a great performance today. It's always fun to watch you play, so thank you.
Thank you.
Kwesi, I got to start with you. I know you've told this story a million times, but the name of the band, tell us how this band came to be named Sweet Poison Victim. What is Sweet Poison?
Well, Sweet Poison, for us here, it's like the name for moonshine from Ghana. When you add sweet poison to different kinds of roots, which is medicinal, then people drink it. But then how it became Sweet Poison, when we started playing together as a drum circle and stuff, I brought stuff like that. We're having fun. We drank it. Some of us got drunk, others got tipsy, others, So we all fell victim to it. But what is unique about the name is that I told you we have the alcohol itself, the liquor, and then about 24 different kinds of roots, right? Every root has something to do when it comes to medicine. And then when you put it together, it performs wonders. It's different. That is our background, this band itself. When you look at Sweet Poison, when we started, we have people from Africa, South America, all these people who were talented, they perform nicely by themselves. But then when we come together, just like the roots on the drink, we can mess you up with music. So the sweet poison was a drink, and the victim itself is when we all, fell victim to the drink. So we decided to, take it sweet poison victim. Yeah, it was nice to enjoy, but also to represent us.
You mentioned that the background of all the members, it's very diverse, right? And so is the musical influence of the band.
Exactly.
But a lot of the music is rooted in your culture, right? Tell us a little bit about the roots of this music and your background.
Yeah, so, I started performing traditional music when I was growing up because my grandmother, is a traditional priestess. My father is a priest, a Methodist priest. And when the Europeans came to Africa, they saw our culture, and especially in Ghana, they told us, no, you need to go to church, you worship other gods, that is not good. So my father, being a Methodist priest, didn't like to see me going to my grandmother's house. But I kept going there because they use music in their worship every morning, to invoke deities and stuff. So I always went there because of the music, and most importantly, to steal alcohol from my grandmother's shrine, Yeah, but my dad didn't want me to. And I started like that. My friends who were around, we formed a group at that tender age, that's cultural troupe. So with that, I started drumming, dancing. But then for my punishment for going to my grandmother's house, then I have to spend the weekend at the Methodist mission house, where they force you to learn keyboard and trumpet and other westernized instruments for you to look accepted in the society, because my dad was one of the so-called elites in the community. Yeah, he was a professor in England, York University. So growing up, I became more interested in music. I decided to, okay, now I can go to school. And so I went to the National Academy of Music in Ghana. But during my education, I also came across so many things. Books written by Westerners, which I thought were not accurate. I grew up in the culture they are talking about. But then, how can I present my case? Who will listen to me? That is when I decided to go into ethnomusicology. Learn their language, learn how they write to counter whatever they've done. So that brought me to Bowling Green. That's where I had my master's in ethnomusicology. And then I came to IU for my doctorate, and then also another master's in public health. So then it came to my mind that how about, all the traditional music that we are losing, maybe I should find a way, rearrange them, sweet poison. Now we play with Western music. I can preserve this through IU archives and stuff like that. So that's another way of preserving our music. But then, members of this band, they don't know what they are doing for other culture. The people you see over here, the music they play, they are preserving the whole culture. So this is how the music comes in. Gerardo comes in with his Latin America feelings, and we have Mario the same over, So this is how the music goes. We don't just focus on one. We consider each other's musical feeling and what they are bringing, just like what you see in the bottle, the roots, Yeah, it comes together, we drink, we have fun, and then at times we go crazy.
Let's take a break from my conversation with Sweet Poison Victim and listen to an excerpt of their recent performance for WFYI's Small Studio Sessions. This is Sweet Poison Victim with Aware.
Okwa tintina ware minko. Okwa tintina ware minko. Seminyami kona semi simejira meyeden. Seminyami kona semi simejira meyeden. Oh tintina ware minko. Semi simejira meyeden.
That was Sweet Poison Victim with Aware from their recent live performance for WFYI's Small Studio Sessions. You can watch the whole performance at WFYI.org. Let's return to my conversation with Sweet Poison Victim as we hear from guitarist Ted Somerville, bassist Carl Salm, multi-instrumentalist Gerardo Ruiz Tovar, and percussionists Josh Nosey and Mario Martinez.
The band has been together for over a decade now. There have been a lot of changes in the group, but today we have many of the original members of Sweet Poison Victim. Do any of you want to share how you all came together to form this group? Ted, why don't you kick it off? You were a big part of that,
I do
right?
want to say something. I don't take credit for all the band coming together. It wouldn't be anything without Kwesi, obviously. But Mario and I met him at IU originally, and we knew Josh from IU as well. So there's a lot of IU folks here, Indiana University. And I want to give you a shout out and some credit, Kyle, because I was sitting at Steak and Shake one night, having a meal at the Keystone Steak and Shake, and I heard some people talking about the music scene behind me, and it was Tierras and Clarence, two of our earliest members, the original backup singer and the original drummer, everything. He played everything, Clarence. So shout out to them too. But it was because they name dropped you, Kyle, and I just heard them talking about, oh, there's Kyle. So I started talking to them, and they came through our early jams. And our jams are just how the band came about, is who kept coming to this house that Carl and I lived at on 49th and Carrollton, where we would just hang out twice a week and chill on the porch and then jam, and it evolved from there. Yeah.
Anyone else want to add anything about the early days of the band coming together?
Yeah, we kind of moved around a bit after starting out at Carl and Ted's house. They moved out shortly thereafter, and so we were wondering where we were going to go, and wound up in some very interesting places, dynamic parts of the community, including playing at Ruckus Makerspace for a while. We had a whole warehouse basically to ourselves for quite a while, and also spent time in an old schoolhouse in Hallville, Lockhold Hall. And it was both places that were very open and conducive to just making new things. And it was really conducive to the creative process.
Kwesi, it seems like you've been more than a band leader. You're a teacher too. And I wanted to ask Carl and Gerardo, you both came from a background of playing in like punk and hardcore bands. Tell me about entering into this group, learning this music. Was that a difficult process? And just tell us a little bit about coming into the band.
Sure, yeah. I came from a punk background, and then I had always been interested in African music, and then Dr. Kwesi Brown came into my life, and I said, okay, let's change the trajectory, because what he has to teach us is something that you can't learn anyplace else. And for that reason, I'm eternally grateful. And I'm grateful that this is a project that has sustained me through my adult life, because what we've been through together over all the years, I mean, jobs come and go, girlfriends come and go, but one thing endures, and that's SPV right now.
Gerardo, do you want
to? No, not really. I mean, negative vibe. Well, I mean, Carl and I used to be in a punk band together. I mean, we've been in a couple of bands together since, and you know, the I guess the thing that remains constant is our love for, you know, not just music that we grew up listening when we were teenagers or whatever, but you know, it's like a quest to find, you know, not the next, but the sound, you know, what is going to fulfill us. And I don't know, I think a lot of highlife music, a lot of Afrobeat music, a lot of West African music has the ability to make you feel fulfilled in the soul. So, it's fun to play 30-second songs, but when you can really channel emotions and feelings into something that just kind of can go on forever, it's really amazing.
Yeah, one thing I was going to say is that even though, one will see us as band, what I have grown to see is this is more like a family, this band. And that has, moved us to this point. Not just we come and play and go, but the way we care for each other. We become family, and that's very, very important to me. Yeah, brothers, sisters, we care for each other, and how we handle things in this band. That's very, very important. Some of us in our lives, so much stress and stuff like that. But the moment you show up Mondays, Thursdays to practice, you sing, play music, you release these kind of things rather than channeling it to drinking or smoking or doing the stupid things. Playing music with this family has helped me, for instance, a lot, which I cherish a lot.
Yeah. And just to speak a little bit on that, I don't live here anymore, but I still come back because to me, this is one of the most important things that have happened in my life, and I love it, and I just want to continue to be a part of it.
Yeah, I was also going to piggyback on that. It's great because when we started this, it was like a jam thing, and I remember Ted calling us up because he knew us from IU, and being like, yeah, I got these people coming through, and it felt like the 10th time he's said that. So I hit up Kwesi. I'm like, are you really going to come through? Because we can go and hang out and drink or whatever. If anything comes out of it, whatever. And then finally it stuck. We started saying like, okay, these days will be fun days, but the people that come on these days, we're going to do songs. I've known Kwesi since 2006, I think, ish, from IU. And yeah, like the whole family theme is definitely a real thing because honestly, if it wasn't for us starting this band in 2012, I probably wouldn't be in indie at all. But thanks to this band, we've connected so much with Indianapolis. It's like a moving train you don't want to get off because we've gone to so many events thanks to the band. The city's grown as we're growing. It's not like, you got to be in a big city or whatever. It's like, no, we're growing with it. So it gives us that type of connection with the city, which makes me love the city that I'm from so much more.
Let's listen to another track from Sweet Poison Victim's latest album, Ringgold Avenue Highlife. This is Sulia.
Indiana, I want Rupunyana, Zulia, Awoya, Obokuminibo, Zulia, Omenia Yeudo, Zulia, Obreya Yabombo, Zulia, Isudia Rambo Sodio.
Cultural Manifesto will return with more words and music from Sweet Poison Victim after this short break.
WFYI podcasts are brought to you by Visit Bloomington. With over 350 restaurants to choose from, Bloomington, Indiana is truly a food lover's paradise. Go to visitbloomington.com to discover what suits your taste.
I'm Kyle Long, and you're listening to Cultural Manifesto. My guests this week are Sweet Poison Victim, an Indianapolis band known for their unique blend of West African music and rock and roll. Sweet Poison Victim recently recorded a live set for WFYI's Small Studio Sessions, and we'll listen to a track from that session now. This is Mapuka.
Hey mama, min kiddy boom, answer nin kiddy boom, ha min kiddy boom, so nin kiddy boom, tofa nin kiddy boom, sansa nin kiddy boom, lo nin kiddy boom, say nin kiddy boom, kenke ba nin kiddy boom, answer nin kiddy boom, nin kiddy boom, papa nin kiddy boom, nin kiddy boom, so nin kiddy boom.
That was Sweet Poison Victim with Mapuka from the recent live performance for WFYI's Small Studio Sessions. Let's return to my conversation with Sweet Poison Victim as vocalist Imani Alpha joins the conversation.
Imani, you're part of a new group of musicians who have come into the band. Tell us about your role in the band and why you wanted to join Sweet Poison Victim.
So I can remember the first time I saw SPV. I also went to IU, and there was this house party at a co-op that had like this beautiful old Victorian house on a corner. And a friend of a friend was like, oh yeah, like we gotta go. And so it was almost like the energy in that space, and it was like people were floating. I felt like I was floating, and I might have been, I don't know, just caught up in what Kwesi was talking about. It's more than music. It's definitely like a cathartic, spiritual kind of thing. And so, yeah, I've appreciated the band and got to know the guys over time, and yeah, just really love them.
Yeah, it just feels like Imani's always been there anyway. I mean, she's been such a good friend to us anyway, so it was just really natural.
Yeah.
But she'd be in the front row of our shows dancing up a storm and like leading other people dancing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's like, why didn't we think of that earlier to have her? I've heard her sing a little bit here and there over these, and she just her voice is amazing. So it's awesome that she's joined.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of floating, I mean, we have had people crowd surf at some of our shows.
Oh, we were floating too during the show. Don't worry.
Some literal floating.
We were on really sitting on top of amps. Yeah.
That show that she brought up was, I think, what a lot of us consider the best show we ever played in Bloomington for Little 500, the bike race.
Oh, Little 5.
It's a crazy, party weekend in general. And we filled this pretty good sized co-op old house that there was a guy from our dorm who Josh and I lived at his dorm together who ended up crowd surfing Highlife music, which might have been historic. I couldn't believe it. And we had to stand on the amps because it was so packed. So I had a punk feel almost that night. Everybody's sweating it out in this, this house.
As I mentioned, the band's been together for 10 years. There have been ups and downs in that time over these last decade or so. Seems like the band is bigger and better than ever now. You've had a lot of big opportunities this year. You released an album recently. Tell us about some of the future plans for the band. And yeah, is this like sort of a golden time for Sweet Poison Victim?
I'm really optimistic about what's been going on with the milieu at this time. For a few years, especially because of COVID, we kind of were just holding position and waiting for something exciting to happen. And I'm glad we never gave up because it really feels like the feeling of being in motion again, it's happening. And I'm really grateful for that. And it definitely justifies all the periods where I might have asked myself, why am I doing this? It's worth it now. Thank you.
Yeah, we have like 5 shows already figured out for next year. So things are looking really up on our calendar and just being recognized in the city, and it's nice to be asked to play a lot of gigs.
Let's hear another track from Sweet Poison Victim's performance for WFYI's Small Studio Sessions. This is Medofo.
Hey! Hey, Abwajewa ọ̀dọ̀ mi ni wá. Ó kọ̀yà ó bá yẹ̀wò ọ̀dọ̀ mi ni wá. Ìdánfò bá Abwajewa ó kọ̀yà ó bá yẹ̀wò ọ̀dọ̀ mi. Ìdánfò Abwaje mi dánwó. Ó kọ̀yà ó bá yẹ̀wò ọ̀dọ̀.
That was Sweet Poison Victim with Modofo from the recent live performance for WFYI's Small Studio Sessions. You can watch the entire performance at WFYI.org. Let's return to my conversation with Sweet Poison Victim.
A more serious question as we end. I've watched this band for years, and your shows are a safe space for people of diverse backgrounds to come together and have fun. You have a lot of fans in your audience that are immigrants. Several people in the band are immigrants. Over the last 6 months, we've seen a demonization of immigrants, unlike anything I've really experienced in my life. How do you feel about that?
As an immigrant myself, I know what is going on and how bad it is. I mean, as a band, we've not talked about this or how to handle this, As a band, we don't know. Who are you going to go against and who is out there trying to promote you or make sure they bring you down? Because right now, I'll tell you, a lot of people, when they see you, because of what they hear, but I have gone through a lot that I don't pay attention to this.
I was going to say, I think for us, knowing who we are, where we come from, I'm not from here, you're not,
Yeah.
I think the music speaks for itself in that, whatever is being talked about, said out there in the world, and all of these narratives that are painting people in some kind of way. I'm just here playing music that people dance to and that people are having a great time to. And I don't see what is wrong about that.
Yeah. And the songs and the feeling is love for the music, for the community that it creates. And I think that's what really creates.
Isn't that amazing? You have all these negative things to say about immigrants, but then we bring our music, you dance.
I think it's really tricky because I think we've done a great job of when we get, of course, we want to play all the shows that we can. And maybe in the past, after playing a show, we'll find out, oh, this promoter this or said this or did this or whatever. We had no idea. We just always go into every situation with our best intentions. But, of course, if we find out someone's being unfair to a certain people, then we have nothing to do with that anymore. And we just want to keep playing music in positive spaces.
Any final thoughts anyone wants to share before we go?
We'll keep making music, we'll explore every avenue, just like what you are saying. From Indianapolis here, people know us. We want to extend this music outside for others to know. Tell them, our story, what we do. Yeah, I'm an immigrant. How do you see me? So I think our next step is to, explore the world, move outside there and see what is there for us. Yeah, and with your help, I think we can achieve that too.
Anybody else?
Kwesi for president.
No, every time we play outside of Indianapolis, we've had amazing times. I just know playing, when we've gone on tour, people are like, man, I wish we had a band like you guys over here. And it's like, man, I love, let me just say Pittsburgh or, random city where it's like, I've never been here, but thanks to the band, I've been here and I've got to meet these great people. And they've given us such great feedback, given us great recommendations on where to go, where to eat, where to be, safe spaces, of course. So it's always just great meeting people. And this is just another way to meet great people.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. Kwesi, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to tell you, this is SPV, no matter what. We are just like the broom. When you take one, you can easily break it. But when you have a bunch, it's difficult. So when you see us together, don't try.
Thank you all. Thank you.
That's all the time we have for this week. Thanks to my guests, Sweet Poison Victim. Check out the Cultural Manifesto podcast at WFYI.org or wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can also watch Sweet Poison Victim's full session for Small Studio Sessions at WFYI.org. Cultural Manifesto is hosted and produced by me, Kyle Long. Thank you for listening. We'll end with another track from Sweet Poison Victim's latest album, Ringgold Avenue Highlife. This is Mali.
Male, 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 male. Ayelebi. Male, 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 male. Ayelebi. Male, 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 male. Ayelebi. Kumadi. Ayelebi. Sisi Magi. Ayelebi.